Leverkusen slip up in Germany. Napoli make a statement in the Scudetto race.
The more things change, the more they stay the same on top of the Prem, and Real Madrid are starting to get hot. All this and more on this unprecedented 40th episode of the No Business Soccer Podcast. Let's get it.
Let's dig in. Damn, bro! I thought you were taking my sunshine, my spotlight.
I was running out of breath on that, man.
He said, "Let's dig in." You didn't, though. It's all good. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the No Business Soccer Podcast. I am your host, Snooze, and I'm here with almost the full fam. We were here earlier, but J-Fan the Brainiac, he bugged out a little bit too early. But we do have everybody's main boy, Danny P, on the ones and twos, and of course, the fan favorite, Hype Man Vic. What you sipping on, dog?
The one fan. Thank you, Mom. Favorite. Today we're just throwing it back. We're going local here, and we're representing Texas. Out of High Texas, Garrison Brothers. It's a single barrel for Twin Liquors, which is also Texas brand. It's absolutely delicious. It's aged in the hot Texas sun, so you get like a lot of like wood and tannins in here, and I get myself a pretty generous pour there. This might be another fun episode.
Was that a 3-finger or 2-finger?
Yeah, I have like a 2-finger thing. This one's a 2-finger thing, but
okay,
things are better with 2 fingers.
Well, we'll try to get through this as quickly as possible before he gets too drunk, because it sounds like that's going to be a good time. But we got a lot to talk about, Vic. We have the final match day in Europe. We have match days in all 4 of the leagues that we cover. And of course, we got a Wrexham recap. We have all kinds of stuff going on. So without further ado, also, I got to say, I had my kid, my daughter, took her to get her shots today. And I'm glad we don't have a lot of people in the comments or anything, because then they might be like, oh, anti-vaxxers or something crazy like that. But anyway, the point was she's a little sad baby. She's a little hurt baby, and it breaks my heart a little bit. So got to get back to her. You can't even, I think I have some like Vava stains for people that don't know Vavas,
The Mexicans and Vavas.
Yeah, I know. Right?
Gross.
Oh, golly. Okay. Well, I think, Vic, is there anything else before we jump in?
No, let's go. Let's go to your boys over there in Wales.
Wales? Okay. Well, you heard them. Let's go to the Wrexham recap.
Welcome to Wales.
Yes, we are now in Wales. Well, this, as we mentioned before, it was a massive game for Wrexham as they took on Birmingham, who had rocketed to the top of the League One table in recent weeks, and the race course was rocking. And I can feel the energy as they were walking out all the way over here in Texas. It was really cool to see. I know you can see that in a lot of the documentary, but in this match specifically, they knew that they had to make a statement against this team at the top. And they got off to a great start as Ollie Rathbone, the second most British name in the history of names, gets on the end of a loose ball just outside of the Birmingham box. He takes it a few more steps, has a look, and says, F it. And his long-range goal in the 9th minute was the only goal that Wrexham got, but it wasn't for the lack of attack. They had 13 shots, and 7 of those shots were on target. And I counted at least 4 clear headers that were on target, but the second goal just wasn't happening for them. And Birmingham equalized in the 18th minute and held on to split the points in a 1-1 draw. Birmingham scored on their only shot on target in the entire freaking match. That's insane. That's some like Atletico Madrid type stuff. But I think coming into the match, Wrexham would have been satisfied with a point. But that's just not how this game played out, honestly. Phil Parkinson and the boys would be disappointed that they didn't get that second goal and come away with all 3 points. But either way, it's got to be a confidence booster at this point in the season going forward. And then speaking of going forward, it's another week with 2 League One matches for Wrexham as they welcome 15th Stevenage to the race course on Tuesday, January 28th. I was like, wait, what's today? No, I didn't miss it. And quickly followed by a road trip to second bottom, as they call it, Crawley Town. Second bottom. That's always a weird way to put it. But you know what I'm talking about. Now, Wrexham have slipped up in some of their softer matchups recently, but these would be especially important to come away with 6 points because in the midweek matchups, second in the table, Wycombe have sixth in the table Barnsley, and top of the table Birmingham have 4th in the table Huddersfield. So they have a lot harder matchups than Wrexham do this midweek. And so they really need to get that point gap closed, because currently there's only a 5-point gap separating Wrexham at the top from the top spot in League One. And let's get it, boys. Up the town. Do I sound British enough? Do I sound Welsh enough? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it would be awesome soon. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It would be really cool to see them close that gap, though, because I feel like they've been in third to second, third for a while now. So let's do it. Okay. I think we're going a little bit more local to us, to our boots on the ground reporting in Austin.
Just a little bit more local. Let's go ahead and move on with the Austin FC Minute. And I will try to keep this a minute. We're just going to start off with some signings that we made. We get Brsard Sabovic. He is a midfielder coming over. Should kind of boost up our midfield. You know, we lost Driussi, and I know Driussi is more forward kind of thing. I think of him as a midfielder forward. But anyway, he should be able to boost up some of the midfield for us. Not to mention Mirto Usuni coming in from Granada.
There's a lot of hype on this guy.
Yeah, a lot of hype. He's our largest signing so far, $12.3 million. Him and Brandon Vasquez are another $10 million. And our right winger, Bukhari, is 7.3, or was it just $7 million? I forgot. But either way, we have nearly a 30 million front three in the MLS, which is pretty crazy. And yeah, hopefully Rodo is making some moves and getting us set
Chef
up.
Rodo cooking it up.
Chef Rodo,
we're excited over here. We're excited. Yeah. We got the season ticket holders over here, and we are ready to see some good football for a change. I got to say, though, not taking your spotlight or anything, but Granada in Spain, they were one of the first teams, and I didn't play a lot of FIFA, but when I did a career mode, and I played with Granada, funny enough. So when I saw that he was coming over, I was like, oh, that's awesome. So I already love him.
Nice. Anyway. Good. He'll fit right in because he played at this team in FIFA. But not only that, we're less than a month away. February 22nd is the home opener against Sporting Kansas City. Pretty sure it's Sporting Kansas City. So we get to see all that money in action and get to just have another party at
and hopefully they aren't Super Bowl winners as well in that city, right? Hopefully not. Oh, I guess you probably want them to win. I don't know.
No.
It's just an all around bad time. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks for bringing that up. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know.
And that's it. That's all I have for the Austin FC minute. Cool.
All right. Well, appreciate that update. Sorry, I just talked through your whole minute there. Had a lot to say today. Man,
you're the star.
No. It's all you, buddy. Okay. Well, with that said, we need to move on to some of the league action that we had. And I think we're going to first start off. Let's go ahead and do the UEFA competitions at the end because it's a look ahead. So we'll talk about the reviews first. Did you do that, Serie A? Is that what you want to do?
I feel like that's where you're going. But
go ahead and do it, bud.
To Serie A.
Isn't it funny? You can talk about a whole thing. What am I trying to say? Like a whole, it's not a race, but like this country. You can just do this one gesture, and it's just like it. Like the culture. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, hey, you just see the culture is just like okay, one gesture, love it. Okay, well, of course we're talking about Serie A, and this is match day 22, and on Friday we had Torino bullying Cagliari on the way to a 2-0 win. Shea Adams' brace. Oh, move my notes here. Shea Adams gets a brace, and Torino had triple the amount of shots as Cagliari, who came into this match on decent form. It was Torino's first win in 6 matches. Way to go. And on Saturday, in a match that left Como doing the Fast and the Furious, dude, I almost had you meme, they fall at home to Atalanta 2-1 despite going into halftime a goal up and dominating that first half. The commentators were even saying that if Atalanta didn't come out of the break differently, it could have been a bad time for them, but it did not get bad for them. Retegui gets a brace, and they go back up to the top of Serie A golden boot race. Well, not the table, but he gets back to the Golden Boot race top. And Nico Paz is good. If you haven't seen him, he plays for Como. He's really good. Came over from Real Madrid's kind of like their farm system, I guess I should say. Napoli get their 7th Serie A win in a row as they beat Juve at home 2-1. And well, what a great game this was. We'll talk about it more here in a sec. Empoli get a massive point at home against in a 1-1 draw against Bologna. I wrote that wrong. In a 1-1 draw. That's only one win from the last 5 Serie A matches for Bologna, while Empoli haven't won at all in their last 5, but the point sees them stay 2 points above Verona in the relegation zone. That might have changed now that Verona has played. What a match we had at San Siro between Milan and Parma. It ends 3-2 to Milan, but our hot dog-eating American fingers are all over this one as Pulisic scores a penalty, and Musa has one of the smoothest assists you'll ever see. Or maybe you'll just won't see a better one this weekend. But great goals, stoppage time winners, just a good time all around for Parma and Milan. The Roma revival tour continues as Roma beat Udinese 2-1. Both goals come by penalty, but Roma won't care as they won 3 of their last 5. This leaves Parma within touching distance of those relegation spots. I'm sure Vic will clear that up here in a moment. Inter take care of business as they get a 4-0 win over Lecce. Inter are stride for stride with Napoli at the top. That's 2 losses in a row for the Milkmen as they're fighting for their Serie A lives. But it seems like their main focus is cashing in on young Danish left back Patrick Dorgu. He's been linked with Manchester United. If you want to see a highlight from this one, Lautaro Martinez's goal was sick. It was insane. Fiorentina and Lazio ends 2-1 to Fiorentina and Rome. But holy shit, there were some tense times and high drama in this one. We'll talk more about this in a sec. On Monday today, we had a 6-pointer between Venezia and Verona. It was almost useless, as we said in the beginning. If they split the points, it was useless. But yeah, guess what? It was useless. I said it was useless as it was a 1-1 draw in Venice. So yeah, Venezia, Verona, 1-1. There aren't too many clear chances for them to get points. So I felt like one of these teams needed to get a win, and they didn't. Genoa did what a mid-table team should do to a team holding up the rest of the table and get a 2-0 win over Monza. You see how I use that, Vic? Holding up the table. You like that? You proud of me?
Professional.
Cold, rainy Monday nights aren't ideal game day scenarios, but sometimes you just got to grind out the results, and that's just what Genoa did here. And Vic, tell us where that leaves the table in Serie A.
Yeah, well, bringing up the table, we have Napoli. They're on a 7-game win streak. They have 53 points, just taking command of the table at this point. Right behind them is Inter Milan with 50 points just by themselves. In the second spot, they did get a draw 3 games ago and could have, given them 1 or 2 more points closer to Napoli and have a really good, tough race at top. But we'll see how the rest of the season goes. Atalanta in the third spot with 46 points. Boy, did they need that win coming in out of this week. So they're looking a little bit better. And then Lazio, rounding out the top 4. They have 39 points and stay in the top 4, regardless of their loss, or even though they got a loss. And tickling the top 4 is Juventus. With 37 points. And as you said, just had a loss from Napoli in a pretty great game. We'll talk about that in just a minute. And if we take a look at the bottom of the table, we welcome the Milkman Lecce. Since they did get beat 4-0, they are now in the relegation zone in the 18th spot with 20 points, with a minus 25 goal differential, which is
that's not good. It should be positive, right?
Yeah, should be good enough to put them in the 18th spot. And then Venezia in the 19th spot, still holding on to their shield, being on our table here, but they're
our pet project team.
Yeah, holding on to the shield, but they are still in the relegation zone. They have 16 points in the 19th spot. And Monza, sure enough, stay in the bottom spot with a loss. They have 13 points, holding up the rest of the table. But snooze, I hear a lot, and I wasn't able to watch it, unfortunately, about that Napoli and Juventus game. Man, tell us a little bit more about it.
Yes, and first, before I jump into that one, that was a professional switch over there, if you want to call it. I don't know if there's a name for it, but I want to say we never clarified if you talked to your friend who is a Juventus fan, or were you too drunk talking about wrestling that night?
It was all wrestling all the time. Plus, Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley came out. Like, I can't remember anything.
Okay. All right. Yes. Ray Ripley is his favorite wrestler.
Rhea Ripley. Google is your friend.
Sorry.
Look it up.
Okay. All right.
Good times.
Well, Okay, well then with that, we're going to jump right into this Napoli and Juventus, even though I just wasted his awesome transition. Naples was going crazy. Maybe another stadium we'll need to add to the list. I think so. I've always wanted to go actually, but we have to make it a no business bucket list here. But the scoring was so close to getting started for Juve in the 5th minute when Yildiz gets a ball maybe 5 yards out. But Napoli keeper Alex Murray, I'm not sure how you would pronounce his last name, but he makes a ridiculous stop. And if you like yourself some good goalkeeping highlights, this one is, probably Victor would call it boner-inducing. And yes, Yildiz should be burying that chance, but come on, we don't get to show keepers a lot of love on this show, and so we will for that one. But Juve did get the scoring started with their new boy, Kolo Muani. He gets his first start and his first goal, and what a goal it was, too, on the volley. Lukaku's header is saved with a ridiculous goal line clearance from Di Gregorio, another keeper highlight. And then Anguissa shows him how it's done a few minutes later. But Lukaku is the savior in this one, as it's his 69th minute win it. Hey, that does work. His 69th minute penalty that wins it and is the difference in this one. And what a run Napoli's on right now. It's really cool to see how good they've been lately. Juve will be fine, as it's just their first loss all season. Let's not forget that. I don't want to run through that. Like, this is the first time that Juve have lost at all in the Serie A this season. And what that loss does mean for Juve is that pretty much their Scudetto chances are gone. But, they're still up there. I don't think anybody was expecting them to win it anyway this year. But Napoli extend their lead at the top of the Serie A table to 3 points, as Vic was showing a little bit earlier. But albeit Inter does have a game in hand. The only problem is that game is against a little team named Fiorentina. So I don't know if they're going to be getting points out of that. You know what I'm saying? Pat that badge for me. There we go. But yeah, it was just an awesome game to see. And of course, Danny P's favorite striker, Lukaku, gets that winner, and it's just awesome. It was a fun time. Definitely not a disappointment. And it wasn't as boring as I thought it was going to be, honestly. Sometimes Juventus likes to draw, and they like to get really low go totals. So anyway, okay. But the one that everybody's talking about, Lazio versus Fiorentina. You see my boy patting the badge. Fiorentina get it done. This one was tough, though. It's our Lazio and our Fiorentina. We love both teams, but they came into this match with questionable form, Vic. You know what I mean? Like questionable form. And I would say that more so Fiorentina. Both would be desperate to get all 3 points in here and try to keep those European places. But the match overall just did not disappoint. Fiorentina got the scoring started early, as it was enough. And it was enough, as they scored twice in the first 17 minutes. And they dominated the first half, and it could have been 3-0 if it weren't for the post. But it didn't go in. They were 2-0 up at the half. And now the second half is kind of where things went crazy. It's still 2-0. And in the 62nd minute, Yacine Adli is being subbed off for the Viola, and he takes the long route and gets a yellow for it. You know how they do. Like, he's like, doesn't go off to the side that he should have. Yeah, it's kind of annoying, right? It's annoying. You know how. But so he gets a yellow for it. And then as he's walking off, I guess he's frustrated about being subbed. Maybe he's frustrated for the yellow. I'm not sure. But he decided to kick the shit out of one of the balls that's just sitting on the sideline right there, just chilling. And the ref sees it, and he sends the dude off from the bench. So now Fiorentina have a red card shown, but it's still 11 on 11. He wasn't on the field. But the coaches are getting chippy, and the benches are getting antsy, and you can just feel the tensions rising. And then the temperature got amped up a lot more after when they got their first goal at the beginning of the 6 minutes of stoppage time for Lazio. But Fiorentina starts up with the dark arts. So you know what I'm talking about? They get the goal in stoppage time, and then Fiorentina, everybody's like falling on the floor, and they're hurt, and and
check your shoes, check your pad,
exactly. Everything goes out. Yeah, exactly. And Lazio manager Baroni isn't having it, and he ends up getting sent off for giving the ref a lot of trouble for it. And then Fiorentina have a shout for a penalty a few minutes later. It's waved off by the manager Palladino, and he gets sent off for running his mouth. This is all, there's 6 minutes of stoppage time, and all this is happening in there. And now it's almost 2 minutes past the 6 minutes of stoppage time. It's still 2-1, and Lazio are given a free kick, which is essentially the last kick of the game. And the dude hits the ball perfectly. It lands in the box, bounces around, and Pedro gets the ball at the top of the box, and he just sends it. And the ball blasts off the right post, rolls in slow motion across the goal line to the left post, and then it goes out, and the match is over. And Fiorentina gets 3 points on the road. It goes insane. Lazio's pissed off. Fiorentina's there. I mean, it's crazy, man. This was an awesome match to watch. If you haven't seen it, you might want to go watch the highlights. You can feel the tension through there. I don't know if there's like a derby between these teams. I didn't think so. I don't know, but there definitely is going to be some tensions and derbies going forward. That win gives Fiorentina their first win in 7 Serie A matches, while Lazio have only won once in 5. What a game, though. What a game.
Yeah.
Any comments?
Yeah, I was kind of saying that Fiorentina need this. Like, if they want to stay competitive in these European championship spots, they need this. And now, if they had lost that, they're in eighth spot, right? In 8th place. They're in 6th place right now, 1 point behind Juve, who have 37 points. Fiorentina have 36 points. One more win and the right number of or the other teams lose, they're in the top 4. They have a better goal differential than Lazio. Lazio has 8. Fiorentina have 13. Lazio's in the 4th spot. That's why I bring this up. So if they win, Lazio loses, they will be up in the Champions League spot at number 4. So it meant a lot more to them, and now they are fighting to actually stay up there and try to get a Champions League spot, which would be pretty awesome. We can go. We can do it. We can do
Let's see it. Let's see it happen. Okay, well, that's what we watched in Italy. Now, I think it's time to go on to Spain.
Let's do it then. To La Liga.
Yes, the smooth sounds of that guitar. Well, in La Liga match day 21, Friday, Las Palmas and Osasuna ended 1-1, leaving Osasuna without a win in their last 9 La Liga matches. But this one was crazy, with Las Palmas' stoppage time goal coming thanks to Adnan Januzaj. Remember him? Crazy thing was seeing a player get a yellow, and then he claps at the ref and gets a second yellow, and he continues to walk up to the ref's face while he's clapping and just saying like, oh yeah, good job sending me off. Just never seen that before. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, Adnan Januzaj back in scoring. Saturday, Betis get their first win in 4 as they beat Mallorca on the road 1-0. The game flipped after Mallorca was looking good before having a man sent off in the 73rd minute, and Betis took advantage as they get a 95th minute stoppage time winner. A lot of stoppage time winners this weekend. Atletico Madrid draw 1-1 with Villarreal in a fun one. We'll talk more about this one in a sec. Sevilla and Espanyol split the points in a 1-1 draw in Seville. Even though Sevilla are mid-table and Espanyol are in the relegation places, they seemed pretty evenly matched in this one. What I will say is Sevilla's new Swiss Dominican, what would you call a Swiss Dominican player? Swiss Dominican? Yeah. Ruben Vargas, he was balling. He was balling out there. He'll be a great addition on the wing for them going forward. Real Madrid get a 3-0 win on the road against Valladolid. Mbappe got his hat trick, and damn, did they put on a great show. He seems like he's all the way back now, and he's gelling with Rodrigo and Bellingham. And oh, man, it just seems like every year they do this right before the playoffs, I guess we're calling them now, in the Champions League. And it might be the only test that Liverpool has, Vic. I don't know. We'll have to find out. You want to say anything to that before I move on? I'm just giving you the opportunity.
We'll find out. We'll find out. We'll see.
We'll find out. All right.
This is. I know it's like their league, but
we'll find out
for 1 year. 1 year, we'll get it.
Well, Sunday, Rayo Vallecano get a 2-1 home win over Girona. Still figure that out. Girona. It was a packed house, energy off the charts, and Randy and Teca gets 2 late goals to seal all 3 points for Rayo. That's back-to-back losses for Girona, and Rayo continues to climb the table. There's a lot of energy, and they were talking about how the coach was saying in a press conference that anytime he goes to Rayo, he wants to get a win. The Girona coach. So if there's any fans of of La Liga that watch it, because again, your team's way better than we do. We're just covering everybody. Let us know in the comments below. If there's some type of beef between these teams, this is a derby. I don't know. I was trying to look it up. I didn't see anything. So let us know. Getafe get all 3 points in a 3-0 win against Real Sociedad at Estadio Anoeta. Getafe hadn't scored 3 goals in La Liga match all season, and that's now back-to-back losses for La Real and 3 losses in their last 5 La Liga matches. Getafe's 5th win of the season sees them start the dream of staying up and maybe pushing up to those mid-table spots. Bilbao and Leganés go 0-0, which is a great result for Leganés, but it's a poor result from Bilbao, let's just be honest. I joked that Leganés, and Vic, I want your take on this. I joked that Leganés were coming for more scalps after beating Atleti last time out. Does this count as a scalp? getting a 0-0 with Bilbao.
Yeah, why not? Bilbao's what? Number
right.
4? They're number 4 in the league? Hell yeah, it is.
I figured too. Okay, all right.
Hell
They
yeah,
got
it
it.
is.
They're collecting scalps, my boys Leganes. Okay. It's the Pepineros. Okay. Barcelona were at their free-flowing best as they get a 7-1 win over Valencia. Barca were up 5-0 at half in this one, and it was never close. On Monday, today, Alaves and Celta Vigo split the points in a 1-1 draw, and the old man, Quique Garcia, old 35, ancient-year-old man, he does it again. Just shave the head completely off, my boy. I mean, he's holding on to it, and unless he goes to Turkey and he gets into the Turkish league, there's no point in keeping it, man. Just shave it off. You look better. Okay, that's enough of the shaming. Vic, where does that leave us in La Liga after match day 21?
Yeah, well, after match day 21, the Madrid still reign supreme. Actually, the top 4 we're in no danger of actually leaving the top 4, but Real Madrid take the number 1 spot with 49 points, looking great. Atletico Madrid right behind them with 45 points, and then Barcelona slowly creeping up a little bit more. They have 42 points in the 3rd spot, and then Atletico Bilbao have 40 points, rounding out the top 4. And the reason I say the top 4 didn't really have any kind of a threat of dropping out is because there's a 6-point differential between Atletico Bilbao and Villarreal in the 5th spot. So Villarreal vaguely tickling the top 4 from afar with 34 points.
You got like one finger, not all of them, just like one.
They're on the tippy toes trying to get in there. So, but if we take a look at the bottom of the table, Espanyol, if it would be out of the league if the season ended today, they have 20 points in the 18th spot. Valencia, after the 7-1 thrashing that they got, actually have 16 points and in the 19th spot. And then, holy guacamole, my Voli Dolies, Real Valladolid have 15 points, and they are holding up the rest of the table. But, man, it's going to be hard to catch Real Madrid, but Atletico Madrid are really giving it a shot, but they could look in a little bit better form. Tell us a little bit more about them and their match they had.
Yes, sir. Atleti. It seems like they have this superpower, which isn't really, I guess it is a superpower, but to not be the better team for virtually the entire match, but somehow, some way, they still get points from the match. And that was true here, as outside of Julian Alvarez's shot on target early, Villarreal were dominating and had at least 3 clear-cut chances that they should have scored, but they just couldn't get it to go in. But something flipped for Atleti at halftime, and they get a 58th minute equalizer from Sam Lino, and then it was all one-way traffic from there as they finished the match with 20 shots, 8 on target, and at this point they felt like they probably feel hard done by to not get all 3 points here. But the way that Villarreal played the first half, because a match is 2 halves, and if you win one of them and not the other, you can't claim that you should have got all 3 points. Well, Villarreal should have felt like they got something more from that first half. But for Villarreal, a point against the second place team is a fantastic result. Can't take anything from them there. But Atleti have now dropped points in back-to-back games, and this lets Real Madrid solidify that gap at the top of the table. Like Vic was saying, they are trying to make a run at it, but it is 4 points. Might be too much. And then another team I want to talk about just briefly would be Real Sociedad, because something's up with them. I don't know what it is. I'm still trying to look into it, what it was exactly. I just have numbers and news to pretty much go off of. But they've lost 3 straight matches in all competitions, and they've only won once in their last 5 matches. But the biggest red flag to me is the fact that they've only scored 1 goal in their last 5 La Liga matches as well. And I saw Oyarzabal fit and starting in this one. Kubo's still out there. Zubamendi, he seems healthy anyways. So I just don't know what is going on with La Real, with Real Sociedad, but I'll dig into it some more, and hopefully I can report back. Maybe there's something that I'm missing, because this is weird. And again, you know your teams more than we do, so if you are a Real Sociedad fan and you know what's going on, tell me. Let me know. Put it in the comments, because I'm dying over here to figure this out. I don't know how they just kind of dropped off. I know at the beginning of the season they were kind of slow starting, and then now they hit their stride, but they've kind of went the opposite way now. And yeah, I'm just curious. I want to know what's happening. So, and then of course, Vic, your Voli Doli, they're making it really hard to see them staying in this league.
Yeah, they have not looked good. They have almost twice the amount of negative goal differential, and the only reason they don't have more than twice the amount is because Valencia just lost 7-1. So they have a negative 28 goal differential, Valladolid does, and then Valencia have now -16. Would have been -10. But
Oh,
yeah, just because of that, they should have more than double of the goal differential, negative goal difference. It's not good,
yeah.
man. It's not good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they'll go down and come back up stronger.
Yeah.
That's what we could hope for. So, okay. Well, that's it for Spain. I think we should take it on over to Germany. What do you think?
Let's do it. To Bundesliga. Oh man, I'm itching.
Shout out to you're itching.
I'm itching for Oktoberfest, man. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what's wrong? Why are you itching? Do we need to
got-
pause this?
Got nothing but
yeah.
time now, man. I want to go back and
Let's do
have
it.
some beers.
I think I just want to give a shout out to our boy Danny P on the ones and twos. Like we're just going through this stuff, and he's like on these graphics quickly. I mean, it looks like it's just magic happening, but we got a boy back there doing, he's doing the Lord's work. So okay, hey, shout out. There you go, Danny. All right, moving on to the Bundesliga. Like we said, match day 19, Friday. Kiel get a massive point on the road in Wolfsburg in a 2-2 draw. They get the bread goals and shock Wolfsburg. Bread bowls, get it? Beginning and end. And it's yet another team that has 70+% possession, Vic. I'm telling you, this is a thing, and they don't come away with a win. I'm just saying, man, possession isn't everything. So these teams that think it is not. Saturday, Mainz get back to winning ways as they beat Stuttgart 2-0 at home, and we'll talk about this one more in a sec. Leipzig hold on to split the points in a 2-2 draw with Leverkusen, and we'll dive deeper into this one as well in a sec. Augsburg stay hot as they get a 2-1 win at home against Heidenheim. They get a winner with the last touch of the ball in stoppage time, and the crowd goes wild. That's now 3 wins in a row for Augsburg and a heartbreaker for our boys Double H. A lot of stoppage time winners, man. These are some fun matches this weekend. Bayern take advantage of Leverkusen dropping points by getting a 2-1 road win over Freiburg. Something about seeing Eric Dyer assist Harry Kane just gets me going, if you know me. The scoreline looks close, but the game actually wasn't that close. The scoreline was, though. Dortmund were a man down early in the first half at home to Werder Bremen, and they did just enough to split the points with a 2-2 draw. This stops a 3-game losing streak in the Bundesliga for Dortmund. Yes, losing streak. I put that. I thought I said winning streak. And Werder now have only 1 win in 5 Bundesliga matches. Gladbach get 3 much-needed points as they beat Bochum 3-0. This win stops a 3-game losing streak for Gladbach, while it also stops the good vibes that Bochum had the last few match days. We were joking last time that they were kind of in form for them. And, yeah, it sucks, man. They got out of form. On Sunday, Hoffenheim get an unlikely point at home against Eintracht Frankfurt. Frankfurt must have thought they were getting all 3 points, but Adam Locek gets a stoppage time equalizer to send the home fans crazy. What a match. That was actually a really fun match to watch. St. Pauli get it done against Union Berlin at home in a 3-0 win. They hardly ever score at home, and they do it here in essentially a 6-pointer. They are starting to separate themselves from the drop zone, though, so they're starting to feel more mid-table, but Vic will show us what that really looks like. Vic, what that table do.
Hey, there you go. Looking at the table, Bayern Munich looks very familiar up top. They're on a 5-game win streak. They have 48 points and in the number 1 spot. And then there's quite a gap there. There's a 6-point gap between them and never losing Leverkusen, Bayer Leverkusen. They are in the 2nd spot with 42 points after that draw they just had. Eintracht Frankfurt with another 5-point gap between Bayer Leverkusen and Eintracht Frankfurt in the 3rd spot with 37 points after the draw that they just had. And then number 4, rounding out the top 4, another 5-point gap. They have 32 points. Stuttgart rounding out the top 4 and trying to stay in those Champions League spots, because right behind them is RB Leipzig. They also have 32 points, and they are in the 5th spot. And then, we'll throw in Mainz in there too, because Stuttgart just lost to Mainz. They have 31 points and are in the 6th spot. So 1 point separates 4 through 6, and after that, just 5 and 6-point differentials right there. It's pretty crazy.
Close, man. Getting close.
Yeah. And looking at the bottom of the table, Holstein Kiel is in the 17th spot with 12 points. They just got a draw, so 1 more point to them. And boy, oh boy, Bochum still at the bottom. They were in form, but did take a loss. They have 10 points, 8 coming in their last 6 matches. But yeah, 10 points for them at the bottom, holding up the rest of the table. But like I said, in those that last spot for the Champions League, 4th through 6th, Stuttgart in 4th spot, Mainz in 6th spot. In the 6th spot, 1 point separates them. Tell us a little bit more about their match, Snooze, and how important it was for them.
Yeah, they Mainz definitely bounced back from their back-to-back losses with this 2-0 win over Stuttgart. It was kind of crazy to see because I knew that Stuttgart would struggle against a team like Mainz that were, I mean, not informed technically, but they had been good recently, but because it was on the road. And it was a pretty even match across the board whenever you're watching it or you're looking at the stats. But sometimes, Vic, I'm just, here's some analytics for you. Sometimes it's just simply the difference was that Mainz were able to convert their shots on target and Stuttgart were not. That's really what it comes down to. And it was not a good time for Stuttgart to lose, as they could have put some distance between them and Leipzig. But the win for Mainz leaves them just a point off of Stuttgart in 4th, as you were saying. And the European dream for them is still alive, very alive, as they look to get back to Europe for the first time since, 2016, 2017 season. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye on that as Mainz continue to climb through there. And, dream is alive. Okay, next match that we were watching was Leipzig versus Leverkusen. And Leverkusen were up 2-0 in the 36th minute thanks to goals from Schick and Garcia. But Lil Uzi Verts, our boy, was on fire in this one, getting the assist for Garcia's goal. And he won't get the assist for Schick's goal. But if you haven't seen it, he created it. And go check it out. It was freaking sexy to watch. But, man, he's just really, really good. Leipzig, they are pretty much a team that I said can't get over the hump. Remember that? I was like giving them shit. Like anytime we put them against a good team, they can't get over the hump. And the team that I said, I also said that they couldn't really test Leverkusen. I was just saying, like, there are teams in other leagues that can test Leverkusen. That's why they lost in the Champions League to Atletico Madrid. But they don't really have that too much to worry about in the Bundesliga. And boy, I was proved wrong as, I'll say it was a little fluky. But anyway, let me just read the notes here. They came back and they got a goal back thanks to a deflected free kick from Raum, R-A-U-M, Raum, I think he's pronounced that. But in the 84th minute, Tapsoba heads the ball into his own net, and the own goal brings Leipzig level at 2-2, and that's how the score stays. And again, like I was saying, for all the flukiness in that point that Leipzig got, they still had to put themselves in position to take advantage of those opportunities, and they did just that. But the real difference here was that Lil Uzi Verts was a madman in this game, making runs all day, and he hit the post 3 times. So if he's a little bit more lucky and those 3 goals go in, it's not even a match. We're not even talking about it because they win comfortably, Leverkusen. But it just didn't happen that way, and it's a great result for Leipzig, and they probably weren't expecting much from this match, honestly, going in. But for Leverkusen, it means that the league leaders, Bayern, get a full 6 points ahead of them, and they still have plenty to play for. And they play Bayern one more time, so they should. I think it's in a month or so. But they can't drop any more points because there's just not a lot of points that you see Bayern dropping. So if they're gonna repeat this title success from last season, they got to call it here. They just got to say we're not dropping any more points. Okay, that is it for the Bundesliga. We have one more place to go, Vic, and let's get our asses over to England.
Let's do it. To the Prem.
Oh,
the Prem.
I get a swig of water here. Got a lot to talk about in this one.
The Prem, short for the Premier League. And, something, I think, Adam, you got in trouble for saying Premier League so much, right? Is that the story?
I did, yeah. I had a Scouser, a Liverpool fan. He, I said something about, I watched the Premier League, and he's like, oh, the Premier League. Like, he made fun of my accent. He's like, don't ever say it with your American accent. I was like, whoa, shit, my bad. He's like, I was like, well, I can't say the Premier League because then I sound like I'm making fun of you. He's like, just say the Prem, mate. I'm like, all right, fuck, my bad.
That's why we say to the Prem. Yeah.
That's why we say to the Prem. Yeah, that's why we say Prem a lot here, because I don't know if he'll ever see this, but if he does, I want him to know I saw you. It was in Bath, by the way. Bath, England. If you saw me, this is why I'm saying the Prem. Okay. Nice. Saturday in the Prem, the Moisaya is definitely and truly back as Everton get a 1-0 win away at Brighton. Everton even had to play a man down for a bit due to injuries, And they got a yellow card for a seagull celebration in this one. A little dust up after the final whistle. Well, it was just, it was a game. It was a game. What's not to love about this game?
That was a hell of a game. That was nice. Danny P was telling us about that one, and we're like, oh, now it's like they're rivals, or now it's a derby between them and Brighton.
Like, okay, now they're good. Yeah,
seems like they hate each other now. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We have Fiorentina and Lazio. We have Brighton and Everton. Man, it was some chippy games this week. Probably because it's so cold and rainy in Europe and in England right now.
Just mad.
Right.
Just in a bad mood.
This next game does not get Vic mad. Liverpool make it back-to-back wins as they beat Ipswich Town 4-1. Szoboszlai gets a goal. Salah gets a goal from a stupid, ridiculous angle. He's just so good. And then Gakpo gets 2 goals. Liverpool are rolling. There's nothing else to say. They're a really, really good team. Newcastle get back on track with a 3-1 win on the road at Southampton. Isak gets 2 more goals. They were wearing the sick away kits that I really like those. I might get one. Probably not, but I like them a lot. All is well on Tyneside this weekend. Back on track. Arsenal just about get it done against Wolves in a 1-0 win. Points is points, as a wise man says, but Arsenal really struggled in this one. The match ends with both teams down to 10 men. Calafiori gets his first goal for Arsenal. That's really cool. And the big question is, do the refs really hate Arsenal? I saw a lot of articles about how they're the refs pick on them the most, I guess is the best way to put it. Bournemouth get a statement win over Forest with a 5-0 win. And we'll dig into this more in a second. Manchester City bounce back from their midweek debacle in Paris as they get a 3-1 win at home over Chelsea. And we'll dig into that more in a second. And Leicester City get their first win in 9 Premier League matches, the Prem, as they beat Spurs 2-1 on the road. What the hell is going on? They had not scored more than once in a game in 7 Prem matches. It is dark, dark days in Tottenham. Brentford take home all 3 points with a 2-1 win over Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. Palace had been in decent form going into this one, but Brentford get it done. Nothing else to say. Villa and West Ham split the points in a 1-1 draw, where both teams probably come away from this one thinking that they should have won. Manchester United get a 1-0 win over Fulham, and it wasn't that exciting or fun to watch, but United won't care one bit. They got to win, and that is that. And Vic, where does that leave us in the table in the Prem?
Sorry, I was looking at my notes that I had. Well, not really notes, but kind of our chat. But we'll talk about it in a little bit. Let me tell you about the table. Sorry, let me transition here a little bit better, because the top of the table is amazing. It's all red for the top 3, but the supreme red is on top. Liverpool with 53 points, starting to widen the gap there a little bit more. There's a 6-point gap between them and Arsenal in the second spot. So Arsenal has 47 points. Liverpool still have a game on hand, which they will play on February 12th against Everton, who just got a win. But in the third spot is Nottingham Forest. They have 44 points after that loss. And then welcome back Manchester City. It pains me to say this, but they are in the 4th spot. They have 41 points, just beating out Newcastle United, who is tickling the top 4. They also have 41 points, but Manchester City have a better goal differential by 3. So they are in the 4th spot and back in the Champions League spots. Didn't think I would see it. Well, yeah, that's pretty crazy. But taking a look at the bottom of the table, Wolverhampton Wanderers and Ipswich Town in the 18th and 19th spot, respectively, have 16 points. They both got a loss. And Southampton also got a loss. Not surprising, with 6 points, 10 points less than the 18th and 19th spot, holding up the rest of the table. Southampton, man, get it together. They've scored, 16 goals, I think? Maybe not. Yeah. They've scored 16 goals. There have been 23 games. And I know they didn't score 1 goal in 7 games. There's been more than 7 games where they just don't score.
They're saying that this might be the worst team to be promoted ever in the history of the Prem. So.
Yeah, it is so bad. Sorry to just hate on them, but
I mean, that's the only team that Spurs won, historic. And Spurs have been horrible recently. So,
yeah, but it is kind of historic. But the surprising thing was obviously Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest 5-0. Tell us a little bit more about that match, because I in our chat, what I was looking for earlier, I'm pretty sure I was like, holy shit, Bournemouth. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for clarifying that, because when you said you're in the chat, I was like, wait, what are we missing? Is Dan, who's saying something? No, you're looking at past chat. Okay, yeah. All right. Well, we said coming into this match, Bournemouth versus Nottingham Forest, that it was big for these clubs as far as setting the tone for the rest of their seasons and really stamping their credentials for Europe. And I just did not see it going 5-0 to Bournemouth. Kluivert got the scoring started in the 9th minute after Forrest refused to step up as he drove essentially untested from the halfway mark all the way to the box, puts it through the net. Is insane. The scoreline pretty much stayed that way until Ouattara got a hat trick between minutes 55 to 87. So, I mean, it was 1-0 for a very long time, but that makes it 4-0 if you're counting. And then Semenyo polishes it off with the goal of his own in stoppage time to finish 5-0. Oh, excuse me. It's insanity for the Cherries at the moment, as that's now 11 matches in the Prem and 12 in all comps that they are unbeaten. That's freaking awesome, which I believe is I think I heard that on a podcast. That is a club record to go that many matches unbeaten. But Forest were never going to be able to sustain that ridiculous run of form they were on. 5-0 is bad. Don't get me wrong, but it's not revision. What is it? Is it called revisionist history or revisionist history? I don't know how to say that, but you know what I'm trying to say.
I've never even
Danny
heard
P,
that.
you never heard that? Danny P, help me out. Is it revisionist history or revisionist history? I don't know. Oh, he'll tell us here in a second.
Yeah. We'll
anyway, what I'm trying to say is like I'm not just saying that because they lost that we knew that their run would stop. It was just the facts. Like there was no way that this team could continue that. They hadn't done it before. I mean, in a very long time. But either way, if you look at the goal differentials of the teams in the top 7, this is one of the stats that I read, which led me to believe that Forest would eventually drop some points. But if you look at the goal differentials, Vic, at the teams in the top 7, which you could easily see because you're the table guy, the top 7's differential is 33, 23, 17, 14, 15, 15, and Forest has 6. So there's obviously something different about them being in the top spots, but you know, it is what it is. Both teams would have been okay with just getting up to mid-table at the start of the season. So where they are now is unbelievable. Both teams have played great, but Bournemouth just showed that they're poised to push on further than I don't think anybody saw coming. Although they do get the mighty Liverpool up next, so they might not get points in that one, but holy shit, could you imagine if they do? I mean, you don't want to imagine, but you know, no. There's no way. I mean, there's just no way they take points from Liverpool, right?
Like, I will say that I thought it would be pretty poetic because I mean we just dismantled freaking Ipswich, and Ipswich just got dismantled by Man City. So Bournemouth go in and just kill Forest, and then just go in and kill Liverpool. It'd be kind of poetic and just kind of like
it'd be kind of crazy.
Yeah, it'd be kind of crazy. It's I don't know. It's just kind of weird. And I'm kind of fearful for it. Kind of feels like a trap game, you know.
They gotta check in on our weekend look ahead because I'm sure we're gonna have some more stats and things to talk about for that one. It's gonna be awesome. Should be a banger, as they say.
Banger.
Okay. Next match that we're gonna talk about is City versus Chelsea. Ow, I just squished my finger. Well, it was a nightmare start for Kosanov's, I think that's how you pronounce it, Kosanov's City debut. But Marmoush started well as he looks like he's going to fit in just right there. It's really cool seeing him in that blue kit and also like following him this season at Eintracht and seeing him go there. That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
but the scoring.
Sorry, I just real quick. I even texted you. I was like, he's starting already. Oh my god! But he
could be down to injuries, you know.
Yeah, that's true. I guess you're right. You're right. But he hit the ground running. So yeah,
it was awesome to see. And you're right. Like even if he was a person that they had to throw in because of injuries, he like Spurs are doing, you know, throwing people in with injuries and they suck. So like to see Marmoush just play great is awesome to see.
Spurs have a better goal differential than Bournemouth or Nottingham Forest. So.
Hey, yeah, we can. That's what we get, baby. But the scoring got started with a terrible back pass header from Kosanov that gets pounced on by Chelsea, and they were up 1-0 within 3 minutes of this one. And after that, City started to pretty much settle in and feel themselves as Gvardiol levels it, Haaland wins it, and Foden polishes it off. Chelsea's keeper was definitely at fault for Haaland's goal as he was caught out in no man's land, and Erling was able to easily chip him for the league. I text y'all when that happened. I was like, what? Why was the keeper so far out? Like, what was happening? I didn't get to see the buildup. I was looking down at something, and I look up, and I just see Haaland, like, top of the box. Keeper's right there in front of him. Like, what is going on?
I don't know why. The keeper like had a chance to run back to the net. He just didn't. Like he
That's what I'm
stayed
saying.
with him like he was gonna tackle Holland or something. Like I don't understand what he was
like,
doing. But
bro, you think you're tall. He is just as
yeah,
tall, if not taller.
yeah.
He will definitely be able to find a way to get that over you. Okay, statistically, it was an even match, but the eye test told you another story. As City get their 4th Premier League win in their last 5 matches, this result means Chelsea have only 1 win in their last 7 Premier League matches, as they are just sitting outside the European spots, as Vic told us, which, in all honesty, is about where people thought they would be in a transition year. But it was just that the expectations changed for Chelsea so much because of that hot start they got off to at the beginning of the Prem. This was a fun one and had all the look and feel that City was starting to be themselves again. They aren't challenging for the title as much as, I'm sure Vic's little cheeks are clenched over there, but it's just they're damn sure looking like themselves again, and they're going to get into those European spots. Let's put it that way. Okay. Vic, anything else you want to talk about your Liverpool boys getting that 4-1 win?
No, it was good. It felt good to go in there and just, take care of business. We look great. We look crisp.
Yeah.
Just want to see Chiesa more.
That's what I said. That's what I said in the weekend look at. Remember, I was like, I'm sure Liverpool's fans just want a quick, easy win where you're like, yeah, don't even have to worry about it. Put that on in the side while you're watching something else. You know what I mean?
I was a little upset because we gave up one, and now we're tied with Arsenal for goals against again. And I just want to be top. I want to be the low. Yeah, no. Times are hard, but it's all right. We'll soldier on.
Well, we are reaching the hour mark very rapidly, so we're going to get out of here real quick. But before we do, we're going to just talk about a couple of the matches that we're going to see in the UEFA competitions in the Europa League and the Champions League. So let's go to the UEFA competitions. Yes. So start with the Europa League. And it's funny how the Champions League is putting all their matches in one day and being like, it's a super day of matches. But it's like, dude, the Europa League, they've always done this. But, for teams that are in the Champions League all the time, like Liverpool, you probably wouldn't know, that is like that. It's always on a Thursday. So, but in the Europa League, so we're probably going to cover this a lot more in depth whenever it's the playoff round and then the round of 16 after that, because it's easier to digest where you're exactly what's going on. Right now we have 64 teams playing all these matches, 32 matches or whatever it is in the next 2 days. So so much. So we're not going to be able to cover all that. We're not even able to do it justice if we tried. But what we will do is just talk about a couple of the big matches coming up in the Europa League. So like I was saying, Europa League, we have of course, our Slavia Prague against Malmo. We have Tottenham versus Elfsberg. We have Roma versus Eintracht Frankfurt, which is probably the match of the Europa League schedule for match day 8. Ajax versus Galatasaray. Lazio versus Braga. Rangers. Nope, that's not what I was looking for. Yes, Hoffenheim versus Anderlecht. There's a lot of matches between these teams. Rangers versus Union Saint-Gilloise. I don't know how you pronounce that one, but now again, most of these teams, they're either already qualified or they don't have a lot at stake for this one. So it's hard to say who's going to be starting their teams and who's kind of just messing around, which is why after this round, we'll have a very, very clear-cut view and be able to talk about these matches more in depth because we have the playoffs, baby. And if you're American, you know how the playoffs, you know what that means. You know what I'm saying? So with that said, let's go over to the Champions League now. In the Champions League, Liverpool have nothing to play for, Vic, other than we talked about it. You laughed at me, but technically, if Liverpool lose and Barcelona win, yeah, exactly. Barcelona could jump them for that first spot. But we have Liverpool versus PSV. Another match that we want to watch is Barcelona versus Atalanta. Atalanta, they are trying to get some more points to kind of separate themselves because, again, it's all basically seeding at this point. So it's hard to say who needs what. The one match that we do know is really big and probably the match that everybody's going to be watching is Man City versus Club Brugge at the Etihad. If Man City win, they're in. If they don't win, they're out. They don't even get to the playoff spots. But outside of that, we do have another matchup between Aston Villa and Celtic. Celtic already made it through the next round. I think Aston Villa did too. So this doesn't mean too much other than the seeding, like I was saying. So who knows how much they actually go for it. A couple of other matches that we want to talk about, though. Juventus versus Benfica. And then the one that I don't think that it has a lot to do. But both these teams are very close to not being in the next round, so I think that a win or draw is fine for either one of them. But we have Stuttgart versus PSG, and that one should be a lot of fun. PSG are definitely getting into form now. Okay, that is it. Look at that. We did that really quick. And again,
Nice.
we'll have more to talk about once we have the playoff schedule, Vic. Because yeah, we know playoffs. Playoffs works out in our minds.
It's more familiar. Yeah, we'll know what we're
Are
talking
you
about then.
are you expecting Liverpool to have any of their starters for tomorrow's game
I hope
or
not.
Wednesday's game? Sorry,
Wednesday's game. Yeah. Well, it's
I
tomorrow.
hope.
If you're watching this now, it is tomorrow.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, yeah,
Yes, it
there
is
you go.
tomorrow.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I think we kind of want that number one spot. If not, I hope just Chiesa gets a lot more playing time. I want Chiesa to get some playing time. He's looking really good when he does get some playing time. This is not a Liverpool podcast. I could go on for a while. I hope so.
We'll be out of here. Yes, hitting
Just want to win.
55 minute. Okay, well, that is it. We've talked it. We've talked it all. We've done it all. We've talked about it all. We hope that you're looking forward to these Champions League games coming up, and we'll see you on Thursday whenever we talk about the weekend look ahead. Vic, take us home.
Again, thank you everybody for spending some time with us and talking about some European soccer. Please follow us on all of our social medias. Everything is at No Business Soccer Podcast, except for X and TikTok, which is still around. Thank you. That is at No Biz Soc Pod instead. Everyone enjoy the Champions League last round we have here, and we will talk to you soon on Thursday with the European look ahead and talk about some more football, the European kind of football.
There you go.
And we will talk to you soon. Have a good one.
Peace.